Hey besties, today we have a very fun story in the sense that it's so fun. Not a lot of people know this about me. So today we're talking about how I almost didn't graduate college. And I promise that the title is not clickbait. It was a messy time. So you might be thinking, Claire, beauty and brains though, college must have been a breeze for you. Absolutely the fuck not. College was arguably the worst 4 years of my life, and I'm in contact with only a handful of people still from college. If you still follow me on Instagram and you're watching this, enjoy. Let's start from the beginning. So my school, the way that it worked is there was the university and then there was the colleges within the school. So if you knew what college you wanted to be in, so like the College of Journalism or the business college, whatever, then you could apply directly while you applied to the school itself. So because college wasn't an option for me, it was always, you're going to college. It was basically already decided for me that I was going to be in the business school. I had wanted nothing to do with medicine, and I honestly didn't really know what other choices I had. So business seemed like the most broad topic. So I applied and got into the business school directly when I got into the university itself. And the first 3 years were fine, whatever, struggling the normal amount. And then when I studied abroad my junior year, so the second semester of junior year, everybody's in Florence speaking English, you know, Mamma Mia, eating pasta and pizza, having classes on wine tasting and shit, and here I am in Germany. My school, I don't know why it was the way that it was, but my school required extra. Our program didn't align with like the credit hours, or there was some weird conversion that needed to happen. So while everybody else in different countries or from different schools at my study abroad university were taking like a handful of classes that were like sustainability and business and like these cool things about like European history, whatever, we had to take like a full credit load, which is usually not what you do when you study abroad. So in addition to taking 3 hours of German in the morning, I had like 4 other classes throughout the week that I was attending. And mind you, the classes that I'm attending, because, story for another day, but some bitch crossed me off of the classes that I needed, because the way that they had to sign up for classes at my university in Berlin was super analog. Like, they would post a sheet. It's almost like Glee, like the sign-up sheet for Glee. They would post a sheet of the class or the title of the course, and then they had like a few lines. And when those lines were filled up, the class was full. So I made the mistake of signing up for the classes that I needed, literally the only ones that transferred back to my university, in pencil. So we can imagine how that turned out for me. And this girl, I will never forget her, for this reason specifically, erased my name and put hers over mine as the last slot in all 3 of the classes that I needed to graduate in pen. I love living. So I got shifted to these other classes that were the bottom of the barrel. Nobody wanted to take them, and they didn't even count for my credits. So the whole thing was just a big fuck you to me. And mind you, I'm taking like European war history classes with professors who lived through it. So when I read something in a book and then wrote an essay on it, they were like, no, this is wrong. And I'm like, this is what the essay says. And he would be like, well, that's not how I remember it. Sir, I don't live in here. So in addition to almost failing that semester, I barely scraped by, like whatever, I come back and I'm greeted in August when I go back to my university by a trip to the guidance counselor. And I'm like, hey, okay, I'm here to sign up for my classes for the second to last semester of school. It's gonna be easy breezy. I just have to do like some 100 level courses that I didn't get out of the way freshman year. This is supposed to be the most relaxed year of college, etc. Wrong again. So my guidance counselor had fucked up by telling me that I only needed X amount of German classes because German was my minor, and in addition to the classes that I took in Berlin. So the aforementioned 3 hours a day of German that I was doing was supposed to complete my minor requirement. So my German classes were supposed to be out of the way. So that was supposed to free up at least 2 class spots in my schedule. So she fucked up and I had to take another year of German. So that's 2 classes that I thought I wasn't gonna have to take added back on. Additionally, I wanted to add a concentration to my degree because, mind you, at this point, I was studying human resources management. That's what my degree is in, but I knew absolutely that I wanted nothing to do with HR and I had no desire to work in that industry. So I added the business analytics concentration into it so that I would graduate with a Bachelor of Science instead of a Bachelor of Arts in Management. So shifting more towards the number side of things rather than the people side of things. So me adding that concentration also fucked me up. So here I am, my last semester of college, taking more credit hours than I ever had the past 4 years. And while all my friends have like maybe 2 classes a week and they're chilling out by the pool drinking on a Tuesday, I'm sweating, running to all of my classes, and trying to just get shit done on time. So there was one class that really fucked me over, and no matter how hard I tried, how hard I studied, how many times I went to tutoring, because I'd also like to put on the record that none of this, like the reason that I did end up graduating, spoiler alert, I do have a degree, I did get a diploma, the reason that I ended up graduating was not because like an A was just handed to me, and at no point did my score in the class have to go from like 2% to a 97 to get there, like to close the gap. Like I graduated with an absolute shit GPA the last semester of college, but it was by my own merit. So I don't want anybody to come in the comments and be like, you got lucky, because no, I worked my ass off and I struggled so hard doing it. So this is not to say that I was struggling in this class and I didn't use any of the resources that were given to me. I used tutors, I went to my teacher specifically, I watched YouTube videos, I asked people in the class, we worked on projects together. Something just was not clicking in my brain, and I just could not, this material was not sticking for me. So in the beginning of this one class, and it was actually business analytics for HR purposes, if that tells you anything about the subject matter. So we're like computing the R value of employee sick days and shit like this. Meanwhile, I'm doing an independent study with my statistics professor from a few years before, because I really was interested in the statistics and analytics and data analysis part of my degree. So I actually did a really cool visualization with her of my mood per genre of music that I was listening to, or at the time I did not realize I was a Gen Z, so I had a project titled Millennial Music Habits, which were really cool. This was probably the one highlight of college, but I got to present those in a creativity competition that was school-wide. So people were presenting medical experiments, people were presenting the future of teaching, people were presenting sustainability in business. Like there were all these cool projects, and mine, because you had to be invited to present your findings or your project, and I actually won runner-up in a creativity category. So that just really proved to me that the work that I was doing independently, that I kind of carved out for myself and was really interested in, was worth it. And it was something that all of the time and hours and energy that I put into a passion project of mine paid off. So it's not to say that I was bad at statistics or analytics whatsoever. It's just the HR part of it, just really, because it didn't interest me, I was really struggling to comprehend. And in the beginning of the semester, I had actually had a conversation with my professor, because she was from Michigan as well. So we kind of bonded over that. I was always there, I was always asking questions. If I didn't know something, I was always participating in class. I sat in the front row, she knew who I was. And I think I got 40% on a very important exam, and at that point I knew that there was not really any coming back from this, and unless I got like a 200% on my final, there was no way that I was going to pass. If my project didn't go well, and there was like all of these different stages where I had slipped through the cracks, and I was really digging myself out of a very deep hole. So I went up to her, basically in tears, and I told her, I was like, listen, this is no offense to you or this subject matter. I'm sure this is interesting for people, and I really love the way that you teach things. I don't think it has anything to do with your teaching abilities whatsoever, but for some reason this just is not clicking for me. And she knew that I went to tutoring. She knew that I worked with other kids in the class. She knew from my various emails to her that I was really trying my best in this class, and I straight up told her, I was like, in 2 months, I'm moving to Germany, and I'm gonna be an au pair, and I will take whatever job they give me. I don't care if I'm working retail, I don't care if I'm working in food service, it doesn't matter to me, but my dream has always been to move to Berlin, and I will do whatever it takes to get there, but like, this is the one class that's holding me back from that dream. Respectfully, I'm never gonna use any of this information ever again. And she was just like, okay, do all that you can for the final exam, and I'll have a look at your project. And she did, I do remember she gave me the opportunity to redo old projects for maybe like 50% of the points. So at this point I was doing something again that I'd gotten a 40% on for the opportunity to get a 50% on it. So graduation comes around. I've bought my cap, I've bought my gown, but the way that graduation works, spoiler alert if this isn't how it works wherever you're from, is you walk across the stage and they give you an empty folder and you get your diploma mailed to you a few weeks later. It also should be noted that while studying for this class, I slept through and missed the last and most important exam in my HR management class. So there was some more bargaining with the devil that I had to do there, but again, sat in the front of the class. The professor knew me, and obviously he didn't give me a chance to retake the quiz because the rules were very strict in his class that if anybody was 5 minutes late and missed more than 2 questions, because he read the question out and everybody had to write it down and then moved on to the next one, if anybody missed more than 5 questions, they lost the chance to take the quiz. But thankfully my paper in that class and all of my projects and all of my other quiz grades were good enough that it carried me through. That professor was also a sadist in the sense that he told us that his favorite student of the semester, which mind you, it wasn't clear if or who he liked in the class, he said that his favorite student would jokingly receive an F in the like online portal of our grades, and then 2 weeks later they would have 100% in the class. So sweating because of that as well. But my paper in that class like got a really good grade, and I'm also very proud of it. I was writing about how outdated HR laws affect trans people in the workplace and how to navigate the surrounding issues, whereas before they were very gendered. So I'd honestly like to go back and read some of my papers from college because I feel like I lost so many brain cells along the way. Anyway, so the way that it works is you get the empty folder at graduation, then they mail you the diploma a few weeks later. So in my cap and gown, few tequila shots deep, heels on, sweating because it's May in South Carolina, I walked across the stage at graduation, took the picture, shook the hand, received the folder, fully not knowing if I had graduated. So everybody was just celebrating because obviously they knew without a shadow of a doubt that it was over for them, whatever. My anxiety ensued for the following 2 weeks until we got the notification that our final grades were uploaded, and I checked and I passed the HR management class, albeit not taking that last quiz, and then I barely scraped by, I think with like within 0.1% of the lowest grade that you can get and consider passing in the HR analytics class. So if anything, that was a massive metaphor for my life because everything ends up working out fine with a lot of struggle and anxiety before. So if this video has taught you anything, it's that fuck college. Diplomas, grades, degrees don't mean shit, and I believe in you and everything's gonna be just fine. Love you!